Hi there and welcome back to the channel. I'm back. I turned 47 yesterday and I make videos about this crazy stage of life and how to get through it with laughter and some fun, hopefully. Just mentioned my birthday was yesterday and I started thinking about how is my life going to look like in the next, let's say, 10 to 20 years, because let's face it, it's not going to get easier. We're all going to get old. It's all going to get a little bit more difficult. And looking at my parents especially, I can see that things can change really, really quickly, health-wise and also mentally. So I feel like I need to start thinking about what are my plans for the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years and then 20 years to see that I'm well looked after in my old age. I do not have children and I really don't have much family here. I don't have siblings, etc. So it really is going to be just me, which can be quite a scary thought sometimes, because what am I going to do? Once my parents die, I'm going to be by myself. I do have a stepbrother back in Germany, but he obviously is living his own life over there. And so yes, every now and then when I sit on my couch at night, I do start to worry about what my future is going to look like. I also am in the position that I don't have a big financial backup really in the bank. I've always done what I loved. I work with kids, I teach, but for years and years I've really, between my 20s to my 40s, I spent my time, migrating to Australia, traveling a bit. I've always worked, but I've done the odd jobs here and there. I worked as a tour guide, I worked in events management, I've done office management, I worked in hospitality. So I've done lots of things, but never really put money aside to already have a bit of a nest egg for old age. One regret I really have is that no one told me about compounding interest when I was in my 20s or even in my 30s. I would have had the money to at least put $100 a week to the side and I would look a lot better now. Well, I probably wouldn't, but my bank account probably would. So yes, I'm sort of in the situation. I've just had a shoulder operation as well, which has eaten up all my savings. So I'm back to zero more or less. So I feel like now that another year has passed, that I need to start planning seriously for the next 20 years to ensure that I don't end up suddenly turning 65 or even 70 and really, really struggling to keep food on the table and the electricity on. So I think one of my biggest fears really is to end up alone. And I think that's a lot of us that have suddenly found themselves single later in life or have been single all their lives and don't have that much family around. Or maybe you don't like your family, because let's face it, we can't choose our families. And I find friendships always become a bit more difficult later in life because everybody is so busy. A lot of my friends, for example, have smaller children at this stage or are just busy with work, family, kids, etc. So it's not as easy as it used to be to catch up and stay in touch. And so yes, from that fear of actually being alone, I have started to make quite an effort to meet new people in the last few months and years. I also have made a point of being in touch a lot more with my older friends and sort of rekindle some older friendships now that their kids might have grown up a bit and there is a bit more time. So yes, one of my tips or one of my plans is to make sure you stay in touch with people and you make an effort to catch up and make an effort to stay in touch, to stay in their lives, because once we're older, it's going to be even trickier to have people around. And once we're older, we need a strong circle of friends around us if we are single and don't have children or family, in order to have a safety net and not having to worry about sitting home alone and no one's going to find us if we die. So I think out of that fear, really making sure that you build strong relationships with friends, new friends, old friends, you name it, family, brothers, sisters, you name it, whatever you've got. Make sure you stay in touch. Make sure you make an effort, even though we're all busy, everybody is busy and there is little time in a week. Make sure you pick up the phone, you make some plans. If people don't call you, call them, because these are the people that will hopefully help us through the hard times and be there to look after us here and there. And yes, so I just had a shoulder operation and realized there isn't that many people I thought I could call to pick me up from hospital in the middle of the week. But once I asked and checked, there was actually a lot of people that were willing to help. So sometimes, even though you think you're alone, you actually might not be as alone, because people are there. They're just not there all the time. But if you do ask for help, they're all willing to come. Make sure there is some people that you like and that don't drive you crazy and that you like to spend some time with, that are there to help you out when you need it. The second thing I really need to look into is my finances. And I keep struggling with these because I'm not on a big salary, but I also like to do some things. As you see at the moment, I am away for a night camping because I still have the week off. So I took the doggo and here we are. But it is a cheap kind of getaway and it gets me out, it gets me to do walks, it's good for my mental health. I make sure that I do these trips that don't cost a lot of money just to get me out and about, because I just can't afford to do big trips at the moment. But looking into the future, I really need to build up an emergency fund. So that's my next goal. I will go back and look at my budget and make sure that I'm saving money where I can. Interest rates are also going to go up for my mortgage, so I will need to find an extra $12,000 probably next year. So it's important to find bigger bills I can save on. I had a talk to my health insurance and might be able to drop down my fees by about $100 or $150 a month, just to have a bit of a less cover. That will still be fine. I also will try and save some more money on groceries. I already don't go out a lot, but I'm pretty sure I can cut down my grocery bill a lot more than I have at the moment. So hopefully by the end of the year I can sort of find an extra $5,000 to put away. And I also feel like in general, it's important to plan ahead. So have a think of what could happen. As I said, next year, I know that my interest rates are going to go up. So I'm starting to already rearrange my budgets to try and find some extra money. I will get a pay rise as well a little bit. So all in all, that will all help. And yeah, try to be prepared so that financial bills or other emergencies don't hit you if you can avoid it without you being prepared for it. That were my thoughts of yesterday on my birthday. What am I going to do in old age? I'm not quite there yet. I've got years to go, but it still creeps up half of the time when I feel a bit lonely, that what am I going to do once I'm even older than this and don't want to go out or do things. So to sum it up, I think building relationships and having strong friendships. You don't need many, but you just need a few that are there to look after you. Have a think about your living arrangements and how that is going to work when you're older. Maybe there's a group of friends that might think about buying a piece of land together or something so that you can look after each other. Just maybe start thinking about what are your plans and what can you do. Would you consider an elderly home, or maybe you've got family you can move into, things like that. I personally will go and, as I said, keep working on my relationships with my friends, my godchildren, etc. So hopefully by the time I hit that age that I need help, I'll have a few options that will work out. And importantly, budget. If you do not have a big backup, now is the time, coming close to 50, to start thinking about how can you change your finances to end up with a bit of an emergency buffer and a good superannuation, hopefully. Because let's face it, the age pension, whichever country you live in, is usually not enough to really live on, especially not if you don't own your house outright and you still have to pay rent or a mortgage. So start making plans. I would say I definitely am. I'm not quite sure how successful. I might make another video about what I'm going to do about my budgeting skills, because they are really in the doldrums at the moment. So watch this space. I hope you're well. I hope you're happy, and see you soon.